Imagine two brothers. Same blood, same soil beneath their feet. One piece of land that should have brought them closer. Instead, it tore them apart for 20 years. What if the thing you're fighting for is the very thing that's quietly destroying your peace? Stay with me, my friend. This is not just a village story. This is your story, mine, ours. And by the end, you may finally understand what enough truly means. Deep in the heart of rural India, in a small village called Harijayan, lived two brothers, Rajesh and Arjun. Rajesh, the elder, was the one everyone looked up to. Tall, strong, always planning bigger harvests, better yields. He believed life was a battle you had to win. Arjun, the younger, moved through the fields with a quiet smile. He worked just as hard, but he seemed to find joy in the small things. The first rain on the soil, his children laughing, the taste of fresh roti from his wife Priya's hands. Their father, old Hari Singh, was the backbone of the family. He had farmed this land his whole life. He taught them, the soil doesn't belong to us. We belong to the soil. But as Hari Singh grew weak, everyone in the village could feel it. Change was coming. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped behind the mustard fields, Hari Singh called his sons to his bedside. The oil lamp flickered. His voice was thin but clear. My sons, I leave this land to both of you. Equally, one half each. Take care of each other. That is my only wish. He passed that night, peaceful, under the same roof where he had raised them. The brothers mourned. For a while, they stood together at the funeral pyre. But grief has a way of stirring old fears. Rajesh looked at the land and thought, half? Is half truly enough to secure my family's future? Arjun simply bowed his head and whispered, Thank you, Father. We will make it enough. Months passed. Rajesh couldn't shake the feeling. His half felt smaller every day. He saw Arjun's fields turning greener. He convinced himself that the division wasn't fair. Maybe the soil on Arjun's side was richer. One day, he approached his brother. Arjun, give me a little more. Just a few meters. You don't need as much. Arjun was stunned. Yeah, father said equally. This is what he wanted. The argument grew. Voices echoed across the fields. The village elders had to intervene. Under the great banyan tree, the panchayat drew a clear line. A thorny hedge was planted as the boundary. From that day, the two brothers lived side by side, but worlds apart. They no longer shared meals. They no longer spoke. Only silence and a fence stood between them. Years began to pass. Arjun worked his smaller piece with love. He sang with his children while planting. His fields, though modest, gave steadily enough rice, enough wheat, enough to send his children to school. His home was filled with laughter, even if the walls were simple. Rajesh, on the other side, worked feverishly. He hired more laborers, bought better seeds, expanded his house. His land produced more on paper, but something was missing. Every evening he looked across the fence and felt a sting. Arjun's crops always seemed healthier. Arjun's children seemed happier. Rajesh's wife Meera would gently say, We have more than enough. But he couldn't hear her. The voice inside him whispered, More? You need more to feel safe. This is the trap many of us fall into, the endless comparison. Psychologists call it the hedonic treadmill. No matter how much we gain, we reset our desires higher. We never arrive at enough. 20 years, 20 monsoons, 20 harvests. The fence grew thicker with thorns, just like the wall around Rajesh's heart. Rajesh had achieved what the village once envied: bigger house, more cattle, respect from outsiders. Yet at night, lying awake, he felt hollow. His children had grown distant, busy with their own ambitions. Arjun's side remained small, but his children thrived. One son was about to finish university, the first in the family. The brothers had become ghosts to each other. Two old men divided by a line in the dirt and by the stories they told themselves. Then came the day Rajesh fell seriously ill. Lying in his grand but lonely room, fever burning, he stared out the window. Across the fence, Arjun's fields were golden, ready for harvest. The sight that once filled him with envy now brought only regret. For the first time in 20 years, he wondered, "What have I done?" One afternoon, Arjun heard about his brother's condition. Something stirred in him, not anger, but the old love that time couldn't fully kill. He stepped across the fence for the first time in 20 years. The thorns scratched his legs, but he kept walking. He entered Rajesh's room. The two old men looked at each other. Silence hung heavy. Rajesh's voice cracked as he took Arjun's hand. "Brother, tell me, is your piece of land too small?" Arjun smiled gently, tears in his eyes. "No, Bia. It is not small. It was enough to feed us. Enough to send my son to university. Enough to keep my family together and my heart at peace." Rajesh looked around his own big house. Expensive furniture, but empty of warmth. He began to weep. "I fought for more land, and I lost my brother. I lost 20 years of laughter, of shared meals, of watching our children grow up together. I had more, but I never had enough. Because enough was never about land. It was about gratitude, about love, about knowing when to stop chasing." The brothers cried together. The wall between them finally crumbled. In Buddhist teachings, the Buddha spoke of tanha, craving. He said the root of suffering is this endless desire for more. When we cling to not enough, we create our own prison. True freedom comes from santosha, contentment, not laziness, but the deep knowing that what we have, right now, is enough if we meet it with presence and gratitude. Modern psychology echoes this. Studies on happiness show that beyond basic needs, more money or status brings diminishing returns. What truly fulfills us is connection, meaning, and acceptance. My friend, what is the land you've been fighting for? The promotion? The validation? The perfect life that always feels one step away? Look around you right now. Your relationships, your health, the small things that are already here. Maybe, just maybe, it is already enough. If this story touched something in you, sit with it. Breathe. And ask yourself tonight, am I living like Rajesh or learning to live like Arjun? You are not alone in this journey. There is always a chance to cross the fence. Thank you for watching until the end. May your heart find peace, and may you discover the quiet power of enough. I'll see you in the next story.